What's going on, everyone? It's Average THC Guy, and today's going to be a mix of a couple of different story times that are going to kind of sum up an era in my life. And that I think it is important to talk about. This was around the time when I was still going to the University of Louisville, but I wasn't as depressed as I was. It was right when I first started going there, and I still had time to make friends and all that. But about my upload schedule, I've been uploading like a shit ton, like every day. And the reason for that, if you guys have noticed, is that I watched this video by Liger420. Go check out his channel, it's great. And he made a video about how he DM'd a lot of famous weed tubers asking for advice. And a key piece of advice that a lot of them gave was be consistent. So I want to be consistent with my upload schedule, and I want to upload as much as I can for you fine people, because I realized that I went on quite the sabbatical earlier this year, and my upload schedule has been very spotty this year, and so I'm trying to sort of clean that up. And so, yeah, today I'm going to be talking about the time that I was almost caught by the police breaking into my own car. I know that's a crazy title, but we'll start with some context. This was an era in my life where I would like cruise joints, I'd go to Chipotle, I'd roll one up there, I'd cruise it on the way back, or I'd go to the head shop, buy a pre-roll. It was a vibe. I was usually by myself, but this was usually like the best part of my day. But then one day I was doing that very thing, and I got caught behind a cop, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go, so I just kind of went where I was going, and he turned out to be going the other way. But he could have caught me because I was driving down the road, and this was right when I was airing out, so smoke was just billowing out my windows. Looked like the fucking Scooby Doo van. And so, if I wasn't doing that, I was usually hotboxing my car in the parking lot where I would park. And one night when I was doing that, when I got out of my car, I would dump the bong water right out of my car because I'd either usually use a bong or I'd smoke a joint. That was usually my two methods. And one day when I was doing that, when I got out of my car, one cop car was already there in the parking lot, lights on, and another cop car was pulling up behind him, and there were people in the parking lot looking at what was going on, and I was like maybe 50 feet from them. And so I put on my sunglasses, I put my head down, and I just walk as, coolly and calmly as I can to escape that very treacherous situation. But in today, this story might be shorter than my other ones because there's not a whole lot to say, but I still want to, upload it because I think it's a good one. So then that brings us to one Friday morning. I was getting ready to go home. My bags were packed with all my laundry and typical college student shit. And went to I went to my car to put my stuff in, but before I did that, I thought, hey, might as well get a little high. I got a couple hours before I gotta drive anywhere. And so, why not go to class blasted? Because all I had was, uh, it was like Cultures of America. So that was basically, or not culture, I had, creative writing. That's what it was. And so I could just get blasted for that because I feel like it'd make me more creative. And I think it honestly does. And because, when I'm blasted, I'm always doing stuff for this channel and for my other projects. So I decided to, get a little faded. And this was back when I still had the bubble hash. Uh, and this was before all the shit went down that made me not ever touch that shit again. And I still haven't touched bubble hash to this day. I've been offered it, but I said no. And so I took a couple little hits off that, and I took my stuff to my car. It's about a half-mile walk, and when I got there, I saw a police car that was parked down the line of cars from me, facing right towards me. And keep in mind, I'm still faded, so I decided to just go about my business. And keep in mind, weed is still very illegal where this is. So and the stuff I was on was illegal. So I was not a medical patient at the time, and so I was just, I was really in deep shit if he caught me. And so I go to my car and I realize that I forgot my keys. And not only that, the car is locked. So the reason I gave you the prefacing of saying how I would smoke joints in my car or smoke bowls in my car is that when I was airing out the night before, I had left my window open. The car was locked, the window was cracked. And that could have been really bad because this college was near the bad part of town. And but I'm lucky I didn't, get finessed, and I probably couldn't have got finessed for the reason I'm about to say. So I decide that I'm going to unlock my car from the outside by reaching my hand in through the crack. And I realize I look like super fucking sketchy right now. So I decide to do that, but when I do that, the car alarm goes off. And that really scares me. So I have a choice to make. I can either try to confront this cop while I'm high, saying what I was doing, and maybe get a public intox, but or I can try and go get my keys and try to then come back and explain the whole situation. I opt for the latter. So I go and get my keys, and then I come back, and it turns out the cop was gone. Um, well, so that kind of scares me a little bit because uh, if my car actually was being broken into, then, I would want him or her to confront who was ever doing that because, say, someone had tried to break into my car last night. I would, I'd want them to actually investigate that, but I didn't want them to investigate this because I wanted this to just go under the rug, and that it did. So then, after I got back, I unlocked my car, I I put my stuff in, and then I tried to exit as calmly and coolly as possible. And then I went to my class where I we I believe we were just reading over each other's projects that we were doing. I think we had to write like a poem or something. And yeah, I believe in then we had American history, which I was not good at, and I just wanted to be spaced out the entire class and not have to deal with any of that bullshit. So this was at a very in between time in my life when I was just, getting high all the time and just, trying to, and I was, isolating myself, and that's what led to my sort of mental breakdown that I had. That, you know, I wouldn't quite call it a mental breakdown, but it led to what put me in the hospital. And I, but all in all, I will say I didn't hate all of my time at the University of Louisville. I really liked the campus. I really liked some of the people, and I really liked, being in a big city. But because I am from a small town, and you know, the head shops there were really cool. They had like Scarface bongs, Friday the 13th bongs, but it was those kinds of stores where you're not allowed to like talk about using the stuff for weed. You have to say, "Oh, I'm buying these rolling papers for cigarettes. Oh, may I get this water pipe for tobacco?" That sort of thing. Even though they wouldn't card me, or sometimes they did. One I went to all the time, they never did. One I went to and they would do it sometimes, but then one day I walked in and bought like 2 grams of banana kush, and they didn't do anything at all. And so I decided to just go, after I did all my classes, I went home, and that's when I would watch TV with my dad. I'd hang out. And we'll do another story sometime soon about the times when I'd come home on the weekends and Mason and I would get super fucked up and get into some shenanigans. But for now, that's really the meat of my story. So, yeah, this has been Average THC Guy. Leave any of your stories in the comments, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.